Hello, everybody. I am here today with Nadia, and she is full of such great energy and amazing knowledge about discovering our soul's real gift and making the connection between that and business so that we can really grow in all these areas of our life, make money, be successful, and still be aligned to our souls and ourselves. So take it away, Nadia. I can't wait to hear.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I'm so excited. I loved it when you approached me about heart-guided business because it all starts with the heart. And I didn't know I was going to be an entrepreneur, but I started really early at age 24. And all I did, I followed my heart and I wanted to fulfill a purpose and be excited about what I do. So that was the very, very first business I created. And it was a heart-guided business because now when I think about it, wow, that was like such a bold move. And I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But I just followed my heart, and it was the very first business, and I've built many different businesses after that until I came to that place. Okay, how can I really know my soul's gift and work from there?
I think at 24, we have so much less fear. We're just like, we'll give this thing a try. You don't know that how hard it's going to be.
Absolutely. And it was frustrating for me to have so much energy and so much passion and really wanting to find my purpose, but always hitting a roadblock. Always. So the very first business I built was called Fitness for Body and Soul. So soul was in there from the beginning. It was always, I wanted this holistic way of looking at life. And I think online entrepreneurs, especially that are into heart-guided, soul-aligned growth and expansion, realize that all our stuff comes up, right? And that happened at age 24. And I didn't know what was going on. And that business ended up closing because it was a brick and mortar business. It was a group training studio. And it ended up closing because the building was sold. And where they were moving to was just not affordable to me. And it was a blessing in disguise because after 3 years of business and all my things coming up, I was burnt out. And then I moved on to a sabbatical, figuring out what my next steps are, following my heart. And then it was wellness training, wellness coaching, health coaching. And then I built the next business container and the next business container. And every single one was not sustainable. Now I can see that very first business was the year 2000. So we're literally sharing a heart-guided journey of 22 years as a business owner until I finally could arrive at understanding all the stuff that was coming up, resolving it, and really serving from my soul's gift. So that's my story.
You must have learned so much along the way.
I have. And I
also, never expected to be an entrepreneur. And I started when I was like 35, I think. And I was so not prepared for the amount of mental junk that comes up. And you're just facing all kinds of fears and limiting beliefs and things that you tell yourself, subconscious stories that if you hadn't been an entrepreneur, you probably never would have had to look at.
Correct. You just said something so valuable. That's exactly it. And I think it is, at the time, Fitness for Body and Soul was there. I was always interested in soul and holistic and spirituality and divine self-expression in spirituality. So lived spirituality, not spirituality that's tied to any type of religion, but really just expressing. But I just obviously didn't know the things I know now. And you are right. It is that path. Now I understand. So I'm originally also from Germany, and Germany is a very different culture. It's very, very rigid in their thinking. It's changing now, But at the time when I was living there, I was always a pioneer, and I'm married to an American. And being married to an American, he came to Germany as a soldier. I always looked, Germans will say, over the pond, meaning the big ocean. And I would always look to America and entrepreneurship. And I would always, free spirit, and you can do anything you want, entrepreneurial spirit. And it gave me the opportunity to get out of that box. And we also live in the States now. So I've gotten opportunities that I tried to implement in Germany, and it wasn't possible at the time.
Oh, that's
So,
interesting.
so there's so much, there's this, we would have never experienced any of it if we didn't go onto this wanting to be creating our own reality and freedom and independence. I think that's why we start following our heart, wanting to be of service, but then all this stuff coming up and all these hurdles. It's crazy.
So through all of these businesses, how did you know that you weren't really in your soul's purpose yet?
So I think the best way to answer that question, let me just start with how I could even find the answer. And this is something I didn't know at 24. And you said it so beautifully, like in the sense that, oh my goodness, you must have learned so much. And I did. I learned so much that I knew that I needed to write a book about it. So the book is called The Magic of Transformation: Igniting and Manifesting Your Soul Desires. And it's a memoir of all those stories, all the things I learned. And then every chapter has reflective questions for the reader to connect and answer that same question. We all have a dream. How do you know? And we have like a soul stream, a heart stream. How do you even know if you're connected or not connected? So those reflective questions will help you find your answers. And that's how I found my answers. And I knew that I wasn't meant to suffer. I mean, that's not how this works. It's, oh, is that me dinging?
It's
Do
a
you
little
hear
bit
that?
of a, yeah, there was a little blip there.
Yeah. Am I
Hopefully.
back?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. So to answer your question, in the sense of divinely self-expressing your purpose, your abundance, your mission, your vision, all of that is very positive. And our wins serve other people, right? So how can I be in so much pain in my business and so much suffering and struggle and strife? That's not in alignment with soul inherited abundance. So that's how I knew I wasn't doing it, but I didn't know why I wasn't doing it, because I was passionate, action taker, doing one thing after the other. So what was going on? What was I
You
not
seemed like you had
seeing?
all the steps.
Yeah,
It was
what was
all
I not seeing? And that's that soul aspect. So I work with the Akashic records now, and the best way to understand the Akashic records, it's your soul's library. It's like a book of life for you personally, and everybody has one. And I was able to access it from a very young age intuitively, but I didn't know that. So that was the uncovering. And now I work with clients one-on-one to help them with those blind spots, with the things where we're like, okay, I do kind of know this is my soul's gift because my heart is telling me, but why all this dysfunctionality in the manifestation process? And that's how I got out of it. And that started happening in the States. So that I didn't have access to in Germany. And then in the States, 2014, we started the green card process. And I started trying this online business thing, building websites, and just trying to figure out how to speak about it. And that's how I found the answers. So it was this coming to America that really helped me. I had to leave Germany because I just tried everything in Germany and it just wouldn't work.
That is very interesting. I wouldn't have thought there would be such a stark contrast in the cultures.
There's good things. This is what is so beneficial when you have it is a privilege to know different cultures because it really just widens your spectrum. And now I can be a bridge between both worlds because I work bilingually. So I have German clients, I have English clients, and I can be that bridge. And there's lots of German hearts awakening to this. I want to build a heart-guided business. So it's changing, but Germany is always going to be a little behind to the entrepreneurial spirit because they're very structured. But the positive thing about being structured, this is what I learned in the States. I mean, and I'm just going to be direct and German, and I'm just going to, I know Americans sometimes say it's rude and blunt, but I'm just going to say the truth. I mean, the United States is chaotic.
It is.
It's very chaotic and it's very stressful. And now think about, why are people stressed? They are stressed because they don't feel safe and secure.
Mm.
And in Germany, that structure, you're very safe and secure. There's universal health care, there's universal college. You don't have those stresses. You get work, when you have a job, you are part-time, you already get 3 weeks of paid leave. You have sick leave. So these are the stresses a German doesn't have to face.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that's the positive aspect. But if you but the box is the box. So if you want to do your own thing, they are starting to get there. The pandemic changed a lot for Germany in that aspect. A lot of online businesses started popping up.
Yeah. It's really cool that you have that insight. I think when you were in Germany, you could look over at America and see it from the outside, and that gave you some insight about America. And now you're in America, you can look back at Germany and see the big picture and kind of
yes. And then I learned so many things about my own culture, Germany, because I took universal healthcare for granted because you grow up with it. I totally took it for granted. And then I remember German friends literally saying, why do you want to go to the States? There's such a great healthcare system here, and it's a democratic, what do you call it, social democratic country that works. So there were immigrants that were saying, why would you want to leave here? And I didn't get what they meant until I came here. And I was like, oh, now I understand.
Health insurance is a huge part of the struggle that my family has as I'm, freelance and don't have health insurance through a job. So
yes.
That's a big challenge.
So now I have gratitude for both worlds.
Yes. You can see the positives in both. I love that.
Yeah. It's so good to connect. What do you do, Carolyn? So you said you freelance. So what is your work? I'm seeing your logo, increase your impact. I know you're all about heart-guided business. So I would love to learn a little bit about you.
Yes. Usually we have like a conversation with my guests ahead of time, and they learn more about me, but we did this real fast. So I build sales and marketing funnels. I do a done for you setting up funnels for heart-guided entrepreneurs, because you know what, that is not their zone of genius. And it is for me. I absolutely love the little puzzle of putting the pieces together, making it flow, having a client journey where somebody can discover you online and come into your nurtured and build the relationship and scale and grow. So I found a great balance in doing that with entrepreneurs who have these amazing energy and healing gifts, because I don't have them. My husband is into astrology and he's a tarot reader, and I don't feel energies the way that he can, but I have these other gifts, and so I like to use them to sort of support and uplift the people who are doing such great work in the world. So yeah,
I love that you shared that, because that is part of my work, because this is also something, your soul's gift, your spiritual gift, your spiritual power. My mom used to always say, and I love this because I remember her saying it takes all kinds to make the world go round. Because what starts happening, sometimes we have, and I say this with love, when we're still trying to discover ourselves, we might end up having a little bit of gift envy, or like the grass is greener on the other side and look what they're doing. Your gift is being able to see those funnels and that that mind that can capture that. My husband's gift is different than mine. And you can verify it via the Akashic records, but all it is, it's something where you already intrinsically know what your gift is. It's just really claiming it and stepping into it and seeing that negative side of it. Like, how can you manifest negative things, but you're trying to use your gift? And yours is, and my husband has a similar analytical mind. He can just see things where I get a bit of a headache, like trying to figure out what he can see. So this work you do is so valuable to online entrepreneurs that do want to do their gift of healing or transformation, but can't do what you're doing.
Yeah, they need help getting out there, getting visible. And I'm so glad to be able to provide that. It was incredibly life-changing when I realized, it was, like I said, I was 35. I had tried so many different jobs. I really was down on myself. I felt like I am a failure of a human. I'm an entitled millennial brat who doesn't have a real job. And I was like, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. That's going to be what makes me feel fulfilled.
But that's hard.
Oh boy, is that hard. And obviously I love my kids, but wow, that was not what I was cut out for. And so, yeah, making this discovery, my degree is in creative writing. I did not foresee becoming somebody who does business and marketing. And yet once I tried it, I loved it so much. And I thought, as I think many of us do with our own gifts, that like, that's the easy stuff. That's the stuff anybody can do.
Yes, yes. You said it. You said it. That's exactly part of your gift. You think it's normal and you think anybody can do it. And that's the first insight. That's that first aha when we start talking about what your soul's gift is. And I remember, so basically I'm a certified soul realignment practitioner because accessing your own Akashic record intuitively is very different than doing the work one-on-one with someone. So I wanted to be sure that I can be in integrity accessing the records for someone else. So I did this certification process. And then before I did that, I had my own reading and my own clearing and my own healing process. And it all started December 2015. Like I said, when I came to the States, which was 2014, all these things started changing. And I remember the practitioner telling me what my gift was. And I was sitting in the session. I was like, really? That's a gift? I thought that was normal.
Yes, I didn't have it like that, but I had it where I was, I think I was like in a class learning about funnels. I was like, makes total sense. And then my friend was like,
no, it doesn't.
It makes total sense. I don't understand how to do this at all. And I'm like, really? It seems so obvious.
I love that. I love that. And that's exactly what it is. I love that you shared. And I love that we can shine light on that. We often think our gift is not our gift, which is not
special.
Yeah, it's not special. It's not true. What really got me is that when I had the reading done and then the clearing and the whole process, it activated this healing of realizing that we do use our gift naturally because it is our gift, and we do use it to manifest what we want. But there's this dysfunctional aspect to it where we have blind spots and where we get ourselves into trouble. And then we get stuck and blocked because we manifested the dysfunctional side of the gift. And that's what liberated me, understanding that. I was like, oh. And then from December 2015, it's like it felt like I had my soul's compass because I now know my gift. I know the positive and the negative. And I'm going to steer clear of creating the negative manifestation. And that's what helped me create what I'm doing now. But it took time, and I was working jobs and building the business on the side because online is very different than brick and mortar. Very different.
Brick and mortar, I can't speak to that.
It's very different. It takes all like what you talked about. I mean, funnels, email marketing, copywriting. You can get really lost in it.
In a great way. It's so much fun.
That's because it's your gift. Oh, simplicity is what was my saving grace. Because when I started trying to understand it, what's natural to you and easy to you was just really complex and complicated for me. And then I got entangled in it and I got very lost. And so then I just kind of went back to basics, very simple. And right now my business is the first year of business. So scaling is not yet a reality. The reality is I have sessions available and I welcome clients. That's the reality. And what got me into trouble is that I was trying to hop onto something that wasn't yet here.
It'll be there eventually, but
eventually, yes. And then I will, and it's good to get to know people like you, because yes, then you do need support. And then you're going to reach out and you say, hey, there's this thing I'm struggling with. Could you help me out?
Yes. Yeah. Don't have to do it alone.
Yes.
That's one of those lies that we feel like as solo entrepreneurs, that we have to learn and do everything ourselves, which when you're starting out, you don't have a budget yet. Yes, that's the case, but
at the beginning.
Yeah.
And there's so many things we learn in business, and we also have to, that was also a big lesson. We also have to learn to rely on ourselves. And once you know your spiritual gift and how it wants to express, then to have trust that you can express it, and also be willing to put in the work. Because what I also did, and this was all in the online space, because this wouldn't have happened in a brick and mortar business because it's just different. But abdicating responsibility before it's time. You cannot expect a copywriter to work magic for you when you can't express your own work.
Yeah, it's good to be able to do it yourself first.
You have to have the basic structure of it, and then a copywriter can tweak it, and then you can hire a copywriter to, or a sales funnel person to take care of all the work that it takes to create that. But those are things that I feel now, but those are learning curves. And Germans have a saying, and I'm going to share it. I'm going to say it in German, and then I'll translate it in English. Das war teures Lehrgeld. And I just said, those experiences were expensive teaching money. Because I invested and I didn't get the outcome because I didn't realize that I was abdicating responsibility. And I was trying to do something. I was trying to cross the bridge before I was even there.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Most of us have been there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So what does it look like to work with you? You do one-on-one sessions, yes, and you help find the soul's purpose based, yes, on their Akashic record? So
you can imagine it like this. So the very basic structure of the work is really Akashic records, readings, clearings, and the reading is, this is your gift. And it really is all the layers, all the positive, but also those more negative blind spots that can get you into trouble.
That's so interesting. I've never heard anybody speak on that before.
Yes. And it's really what was my saving grace, because it also gave me compassion for myself, because I had created all these businesses in Germany and always ended up in the dysfunctional aspect of my gift, in the dysfunctional manifestation, because it's something you do, but you don't know you're doing it. And you can imagine it a little bit like dysfunctional, just meaning, you know how little toddlers, they have these round toys and then they have the shapes and they're supposed to put the circle into a little child will go circle and then there's a triangle. So the circle, the functional aspect of the circle is to fit into the circle shape. That's that functional aspect. The dysfunctional aspect is trying to jam it into the triangle.
And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the circle.
There's nothing. It's just you're using it in a way it's not supposed to be. It's not how it's supposed to be used. And that's just our humanity. And it's also soul's gift is our divinity, our divine potential. But the dysfunctionality of using it's like we're human. You don't know what you don't know until you know. And so that first part is the part that clients always love, because it's really wonderful to have your gift validated. And it's also really liberating to have that dysfunctional aspect illuminated. And then to kind of have the feeling, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. It's just I didn't know. And then the clearing part, you can imagine we have negative karmic patterns and blocks and restrictions looping in our original. So we were created perfectly. And then we come, and we live human lives, and we kind of make negative choices because we don't realize. And negative always means it takes us away from our gift. And we get this, entangled and enmeshed, and relationships are difficult, and we might make wrong decisions in a relationship. And then we clear that, so that you can imagine it like clearing the roadblocks to your heart's wish and your soul desire. And it's a process of 4 to 6 weeks, because what I did do is there are soul realignment practitioners and Akashic record readers and clearers that just do a session and then they're done. But I really love the practitioner side and also the mentoring side. So the container
is a journey, and watch somebody growing and progressing.
And because I applied it myself and soul aligned myself and built my business in that way, that's why the mentoring part, because I can speak of my experiences and the person is not so lost, because I had a natural connection to my Akashic records. So after my clearing and reading, I knew what to do because I could continue accessing. But that's my gift, right? And I had to realize, this was also in the work with the clients, I had to realize that's what I'm here for, to help them implement it in everyday life, not just to do a reading. Because if you just do a reading and you don't change, or a clearing and you don't change anything in your life because you're confused about what you're supposed to do, then the energy work done in your records only lasts for about 6 weeks, and then things go back to how they were.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I have to tell you a story about this.
Yes.
So, my husband and I were experiencing infertility. And as I told you, I really wanted to be a mom and was really looking forward to like feeling fulfilled in being a mother. And I found out that I had PCOS, and I was doing all this different stuff to try to heal and to manage that. But I'm Hindu, and my parents were going to India to visit a guru there, a Shankaracharya. And so they took me along, and I asked for a blessing to have children. And he held up his hand and he said, "I bless you." And I could feel in my body these karmic chains just releasing.
Amazing. And I'm getting goosebumps.
And like I said, I don't feel, energy like my husband and my cousin who does Reiki, like they can feel the energy. I never get that. Yeah. So that moment was so incredible and unusual. And now we have 2 children who are perfect and healthy and beautiful. They are 6 and 4. So I have experience of like whatever karmic block was in there just getting whoosh.
Yes. And I love I love how you're sharing the stories, because it makes it all real and tangible. And Akashic Records work has many shapes and forms. I literally say it's a little bit like yoga. All these, like, obviously yoga is not in the Western world, is not in the original sense how it is practiced in India. And that is another conversation. But just looking at the different Western style yoga practices is all going to be different. You have, the yin yoga and the this yoga. And it's a little bit like that with Akashic Records work as well, because you can access your Akashic records through hypnotherapy. I started working with a mentor when I was 18, and she was really my teacher for cause and effect and understanding that the energy, like the energy behind the choice, will determine the energy of the consequence and the result. And so I was 18 when I started working with her, and she did kinesiology, but we also accessed the records. And now you're sharing, you went to India and you had this blessing with a healer, and you could feel these shackles and chains, so it's really important to just open your heart to it, because our mind has this opinion of how it should look.
Yes, I was definitely very skeptical. I have a nice, healthy skeptic mind.
And I have a podcast which is called Soul Health Mentor, and I talk about these things. And the tagline is out of your mind and into your heart.
Love that.
Because we have opinions, and I have it too. Like your personality has opinions of how things should look, and then when they don't look like that, then you're upset.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. Amazing that you had that experience.
Yeah, I am so grateful for that and for my family, because now I have those children that I wanted so much. So,
and you have a beautiful job that you created yourself.
Yes,
where you can be at home.
I manifested it. I created it from nothing. That's what my husband says. He's like, it's kind of incredible that you just made yourself a job.
Yes, and that is really that wish that you had. You know, I want a family, I want children. That's what I call a heart's wish, a soul desire. That is nothing that comes from your rational mind. Because when it comes from your rational mind, then you actually realize how hard it is to be a parent, and how, oh no, I don't want to do that. That's the rational mind that will say no.
I have plenty of friends who are like, I feel like I should want kids, but it doesn't look fun.
Exactly.
And for me, it was like, it's no choice. I feel like I will die if I don't. Like, my blood is screaming for children.
You said it. Your blood is screaming. That is that soul desire, that heart's wish, and that makes not necessarily rational sense. And then you're faced with these difficulties of PCOS is called, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your mind might say, oh, it's never going to happen. But then your heart and your soul are stronger, and then you opened up to something. And that's really why I then say that using your spiritual gift to manifest the dream your soul has for you. Because my mind had so many opinions in Germany of how this business thing should look. And when I came to the States, it became, no, my soul has this dream for me. And let me just follow my heart and soul and figure it out. And it's a different way of manifesting. Because the law of attraction was something my dad taught me at age 11, which is amazing. And it worked till I was 35. And then I started manifesting the dysfunctional aspect of my gift. And we're like, what is wrong? Is the law of attraction broken?
I definitely think it's more complex than what you generally hear about it.
Absolutely. It's missing a lot of missing pieces. It's one
really
little
cool that you had all of this background from childhood with these kinds of modalities. That is really neat.
And this is something where when you go to soul level, then you also realize that your family matrix, there's no coincidences. You choose the parents that are perfect for whatever your soul came here to do. And that's how my parents were. And it wasn't that they were perfect parents. There was also a lot of problems and a lot of healing that needed to happen. And nowadays we talk about the mother wound and the father wound. And it's just because they didn't know, right? Often parents are wounded from their parents, and then it's this generational healing. And one thing I can say, my dad wasn't an easy person, and he got more and more difficult as he aged. But one thing that I always remember, and that's where what the seeds that he planted, and my mom as well. But at age 11, him doing his own research, reading new age spiritual books, and sharing his conversations with me. That was the best time. And that's when he would talk about the law of attractions and desires and heart's wishes. And he planted the seed in this 11-year-old brain. You can have anything you want. You just need to think the right way. That was obviously not all of it, but it really made me become that entrepreneurial spirit and become that, okay, what do I want? And then at 35, I hit that block. I kept hitting the same block, and then I got into the work I'm doing today. So everything has purpose and sense. And when we extract like the heart wisdom in it, that's when I also think we become like alchemists. And then the human experience can be heavy, but then when we become alchemists, we realize, okay, there's a reason for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Parents are human too.
Exactly.
I'm awaiting the time when my children realize that because right now they're still in that like, mommy is so perfect. Everything mommy does is amazing. And I'm like, this is not going to last. One day you're going to realize your mommy is very quirky.
But you know what? And this is where, so my husband and I decided not to have children. It was a conscious decision because we married very young. Like I said, he came to Germany as a soldier. He was 18. We dated for 2 years. We got married when we were 20. Next April, I can't even believe it. It'll be 27 years we've been married. Wow. But imagine you get married so young. We had to find ourselves. You don't know who you are at age 20. And so I wasn't going to be, I did not have that heart's desire, heart's wish to be a mom, and I would be willing to do it single. Like, I know some women have that. I did not. I was like, we're either going to do it together or we're not going to do it at all. And at one point, it wasn't clear if we were going to make it. So it was a very conscious decision to just say, it's okay. And I still think that I'm going to mentor children at one point, because so many children need a mentor, and they don't have to be my own children. So I'm putting it out there, and in perfect divine timing, it will happen. But one thing I really do want to say, I know there is such a thing as mom guilt. I don't experience it because I don't have it, but I sometimes have it with my puppy, with our dog. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what it's like if you have a child. As long as you're growing as a parent, because my mom didn't have the tools that I had with the Akashic records. My parents didn't have it. It was my parents' struggle, strife, and negative karmic patterns that made the daughter try to find solutions. I was like, I'm not going down that road. I'm not going down that road they are going down. So as long as you're wanting to grow and communicating with your children, it'll be fine. Because my mom and I, we got best friends at the end, even though there was hard stuff happening, because she didn't know any better, but because she was really a spiritual warrior goddess, I have to say. I admire her. She's no longer alive, but I admire her now because until she died, which she died at 80, she never gave up. She was always reading books, always growing, always listening for, okay, how can I change this? And we became best friends in that sense. And she would lovingly call me. I didn't like it when she did that, but she would lovingly call me her mentor. I wasn't her mentor. I was just learning from her experiences and was figuring it out. But I guess at the end of her life, there was this admiration we had for each other, where I admired her for being so strong in a situation where tools weren't available. And she admired me for being able to apply the tools.
Oh, I love that she kept on learning and growing. That is my hope for myself and my hope for my parents. Because, I watched my grandparents become very rigid and stuck and unhappy. And you start wondering, is it inevitable that you reach a certain age and you just give up on learning new things? And
it is not
that way.
We live in a day and age where it's no longer necessary. And that's where I just wanted to say, yes, nobody's perfect, but there's a really beautiful mantra that I discovered in a book. And it's like, I hold myself to a standard of grace, not perfection. And I think that would be very important for moms to say, I hold myself to a standard of grace, not perfection. And the biggest thing you can do for your children is just talk to them, communicate with them, and also kind of say, oops, I was wrong. I didn't mean that. I think communication is everything. And because my mom and I had it at the end of her life, I see how much mother-daughter healing we did. So please don't think like you're going to screw up your kids. You're not. You're not.
It's a lot of responsibility.
Yes. I understand. But
it weighs on me.
You do the best you can. And as long as you're communicating with your kids, they will love you. And you know how, even in marriage, right? You don't always love your husband because sometimes there's a little friction, but you always work it out.
Yeah, my husband's an amazing communicator. Thank goodness for him.
Good, good. That is my mom. That is one thing that my mom would always say, and that's what I learned from her because she didn't have a good marriage. It wasn't a good marriage. The teenage Nadia wished that my mom would have left my dad because I believe they would have been happier apart. But my mom, different culture. She came from South Africa, so there's. You mentioned that you're Hindu. My mom grew up in a South African culture of Muslim, Indian, South African Indian, so from
There's a lot
India.
of Indians in South
Yeah.
Africa,
So
yeah.
my grandpa was Indian Persian. My grandma was Portugal Italian. Within that Islamic culture, so very different. My mom grew up being told that she's going to be the housewife and the husband's going to make the money. So that was something that she, that already kind of set up difficulties in her life. And I was just learning through her. And one thing she was just always saying to me said, in your marriage, just make sure you communicate. And it's the
Mm,
same with your children. With your children, just make sure you communicate. That's
yeah.
what good relationships are about. And everybody's allowed to say what they need to say. So don't be scared, if there's friction. It doesn't mean you don't love each other anymore. It just means you're working things out.
That is wonderful. Well, we should probably wrap things up, but can you share how people can get started working with you, learn more about you?
Yeah. So you can, if you just want to learn more about me and Soul Health Mentor podcast, I invite you to go visit and hear some out of your mind and into your heart wisdom, because I do feel like it's nice to get to know each other so that there's a way to get to know me better. And if you want to check out my work, you can just visit nadiakrauss.com. And it's Nadia with an I, and Krauss is
All
KRAUSS.com.
right. Excellent. I will put that in the show notes.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and it was such a lovely conversation.
Yes, it is absolutely delightful to chat with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.